Welcome back to Gene and Roger Talk Movies. Once again, we are joined by our friend Tykan. And the reason Tykan is back, for those of you that listened to our last episode, he got really excited about the movie we were going to do this week. So we've got him back.
He had to join.
Yes, has to be here.
This might be the last time he joins us.
I feel like I'm going to get banned.
Maybe so, but we're
No, we like Tykan.
way back in, I think, episode
Sometimes.
4 it was, Gene. We talked about horror comedy. We did I don't even remember, Shaun of the Dead and Zombieland.
Which are both pretty good.
Yeah, this one is Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Also falls in that horror comedy realm. Came out in 2010. Pretty much is available anywhere you've got your streaming. Gene, initial thoughts on Tucker and Dale versus Evil?
You know, Roger, sometimes for the show you review or you throw out movies for us to review because you kind of are the horror expert. You've been watching these movies your whole life. You've seen movies that most people have no idea were even made. So but sometimes you throw titles out there and I go along and we review it and I just hate these things. Like Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, Halloween Ends, Event Horizon, Skin and Rake. Those are all pieces of crap. I hate those movies. But so I was thinking it was Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Yeah, it's another one of them. I'm sure I'm going to hate it. But so lots of times I watch these movies like I put the movie I download it on my iPad and I watch the movie while I'm on my treadmill, you know? So it's good. I get some exercise and I'm watching the dumb movie too. And so it's like I'm doing multiple things, right? It's a good thing. But then I was watching this movie and then I realized, oh my gosh, I need to stop. I need to stop watching this movie. So I stopped the movie and then I went upstairs and I got my kids to watch this movie with me. And we restarted it from the very beginning. And my kids just loved this thing. Loved it because I kind of realized that, yeah, this movie probably is not a piece of crap. When the girl falls off the boulder, hits her head, and the Dale drives in the water to save her. And then all the other, teenage college morons, they see Dale pulling her out of the water and they think that, the hillbillies are there. They've kidnapped our friend and they're going to kill our friend. We need to weaponize ourselves. And yeah, once that happened, it's like, yeah, this movie's pretty good.
Well, and then when he does the awesome line when Dale says, "We've got your friend."
We've got your friend, yeah.
And he's meaning it like, hey, come
Yeah,
over and
come
get her.
Help her. Yeah, it's just like we've saved her. We saved her life.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No. It's all full of judgment and hatred and yeah.
And that's the basic premise of the film. Tucker and Dale are these two hillbilly kind of guys. They've just purchased their vacation home out in the backwoods somewhere.
Yeah.
Which
Tucker,
is this,
I guess, is purchased.
You're right, which is this falling down, dilapidated thing that they're gonna, refurbish.
Well, it seems like killings had happened there a long time ago. This movie definitely makes references to Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh yeah.
So it's like a remake of that movie almost.
Yeah, and then you have a bunch of college kids coming in to party at
these
the thing.
college kids are just dumb.
Yeah, and so it's a big, massive case of mistaken identity or assumptions and all this. Tykan, what are your thoughts on this movie?
Oh, man. Tucker and Dale. You don't get much better when it comes to comedy horror than Tucker and Dale. I would say the only one that may be above that is Cabin in the Woods, potentially. What happens when you judge two people purely off their appearance? Well, mayhem happens. And what happens when you buy a vacation home that's not up to code? Well, mayhem happens. You really don't get much better. I mean, it has everything it needs to be a really good comedy horror. Extremely bloody, extremely stupid, and
and likable characters.
And likable characters.
Tucker and Dale are just really likable.
They're just very nice guys.
That's where this movie excels, and that's why this movie works, is because you have really likable characters. You like Tucker and Dale, and you like the girl that they save, and you even like some of the college bimbos, and
Oh yeah.
I guess you don't like. There's this one college frat character. Anybody who's gone to college knows this guy. I knew him at University of Colorado, and I hated this guy. But he's just materialistic, all into himself. I'm this, that, and the other thing. But yeah, nobody likes that guy.
No.
But it's a great movie because it's really likable characters, and you want Tucker and Dale to be okay. And then even when the girl seems to be like kind of in danger, you're like, you're kind of really on the edge of your seat,
Right,
Mm-hmm.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got a good balance of comedy and horror, like Tykan was saying, where once it gets down to the horror aspect of it, it's extreme violence, comedy violence,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I
Definitely.
think you have to say the best part of the movie was the college. They stage an attack. They attack.
It's the siege of the
they
cabin.
they launch an attack. The three-pronged attack. There's a flanking maneuver on the cabin, and it just is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Well, and it really is. And I think
I mean, it's so bloody and gruesome, but it's
yeah,
just,
but I love this film though because like Gene was saying, this is the more splattery kind of slasher movies you've seen in like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, that's really at its core what this movie is. It's just a slasher movie with great comedic elements. And I had been telling Gene for quite a few years, I think, that this is one of the few movies where no matter how many times I've seen it, two scenes will just cause me to burst out laughing, even though I know absolutely that those scenes are happening.
Yeah.
One
This
is
is
this.
the attack, right? It's
this-
got to be the attack.
Well, one is the brilliantly constructed chainsaw sequence.
yeah,
where-
with the bees.
With the
where
bees.
yeah, so
This is great.
so Tucker is out chainsawing this log. You can see that there's a hornet's nest in there.
Right.
Well, one of the kids has been chosen to go up and see what the deal is with the girl because they've already got the girl and they've said, "Hey, we've got your friend," which has set them off, thinking
Yeah,
it's
and
some
they
big.
found the house, and so
Yeah.
they draw lots, kind of.
Yeah.
And so this guy's been chosen.
And
Yeah.
so he's out there just chainsawing this log, which then he hits through into this hornet's nest and he gets covered with bees. Does he drop the chainsaw?
Nope.
Does he run? No.
Nope.
He's got the chainsaw completely revved up and he comes running out from behind the house.
With the chainsaw.
Chainsaw
No,
just
man.
raging and
Gosh.
smoke billowing off that saw, and he's screaming. And of course, the kid immediately freaks out and starts to
Right,
run.
right, because
naturally.
it looks like he's running towards him.
Right, and it's straight out of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I just laugh so hard every time.
It's great.
And then the other time is, during that big flanking maneuver where they're going to come in there. And, of course, here's Tucker again. He's cleaning the yard up, and so he's got all these pieces of wood, and he's throwing
Well,
them into
he's
this.
got a wood chipper, and you know, as soon as you see the wood chipper, you
Yeah.
know somebody's going to end up in the wood chipper.
Yep.
I mean, just like the movie Fargo, it reminded me of Fargo. That
Right.
guy ended up in the wood chipper. Somebody's going to end up in that.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so, of course, that's what happens. One of the kids just hurls himself into this wood chipper, and I love the line where Tucker and Daryl are like, "What is going on here?" And they've decided that all these kids are on some sort of suicide pact.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Should we call the police?" And it's like, "What?" And tell them we've got a bunch of kids committing suicide on
Yeah,
our
the guy,
property.
he doesn't jump into the wood chipper on purpose. He jumps to try to catch Tucker, right?
Right.
To try to tackle him. But Tucker, it doesn't even know it's coming and instantly just moves out of the way.
Right, he
just goes
bends
right in
down
there.
to get a log, and that sends
Yeah, the
dude
guy goes
just-
head first into the chipper.
I love it how Tucker was just trying to actively pull him out of the wood chipper too. And he's like,
Yeah,
and he pulls out half a body.
oh, I know. It's just
Yeah, because the guy had a screwdriver and he was going to stab Tucker and he missed and he went in the wood chipper.
I hope this siege, or not the siege, I hope this attack goes in the history books, and I'm going to call this the Siege of Suicide Pack.
Yeah, it's just amazing how this movie plays out with these intense scenes of just crazy gore like that. And
Yeah, like when the cop gets it. 'Cause
Yeah.
you
Oh,
know that
man.
that's going to happen. Somebody's going to get whacked.
That's
Because there's like a beam that moves and something falls and it looks like it's a designed trap
Right.
for somebody.
right.
it's
yeah.
Mousetrap, of course.
Yeah.
Is this Home Alone?
And it's just this,
Yeah, exactly.
a film where if any of the characters would sit down and just have a conversation, none of this would have happened, which is what's so great because you have
Yeah.
these preconceived notions of, oh, they're hillbillies, so clearly they're dangerous or they're crazy.
Crazy.
And
Yeah, we've seen Deliverance as well.
right, and a simple conversation would have just solved the whole problem, but it continues to just escalate until it's just this bloodbath.
Well, except for like the girl that's captured. Like,
Right.
what's her name? I forget her name.
I do
I
not
don't even know her
I
name.
don't
Oh, we should- I
remember
should
her
read it.
name.
Anyway, the girl that's captured, like Dale saves her, and then they take her to the vacation house. And so they bandaged up her head and all this. And so she wakes up the next day and she sees Dale and she's totally afraid. But then Dale brings her breakfast. He brings her pancakes.
That was
No, you don't
that
like
was
my
the
bacon?
hilarious part was because he had brought her pancakes and she starts screaming.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, you hate pancakes."
Yeah,
And then he
Dale's thinking she's screaming because, well, I shouldn't have brought the pancakes. She's screaming because of the and then he makes her a totally
eggs
awesome,
and bacon. Yeah.
makes her an awesome other breakfast. And she put, I like on the tray, he puts the flowers and it's on.
It's so adorable.
Yeah, it's great.
This guy's going to be a romantic man.
Right. Well, and that's the subplot is he's always failed with women and
Yeah.
and all this, and so Tucker and Dale have been lifelong friends and all
Yep,
this stuff,
yep.
and he's always been seen as the lesser of the two and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and then after that, they start talking. The girl, I just call her the girl, I guess, and then Dale. They start talking, and yeah, they start playing a board game, and they have just a regular
love
old
that part.
conversation, you know. And then Dale turns out to be he has like some photographic memory. And,
Right.
yeah, it's actually quite intelligent.
Yeah.
Isn't the scene where they're playing the board game? Tucker just got stung by multiple hornets. He's like, Dale, didn't you hear me yell for you? No, I've been playing board games.
Yeah,
I needed you.
Yeah, and it's, after doing multiple weeks of extreme French horror and all of
Oh,
these really
yeah,
deep
raw.
and depressing horror movies, Tucker and
Martyrs.
Dale versus Evil is kind of, and you can probably tell in our voices, it was a real refreshing movie for us to watch. Not only is it funny, but it's just really a charming little film, right? It is nice to
Yeah.
see that relationship build between Dale and the girl, and
Yeah.
and how that plays out as you get towards the end, and just the continued escalation of just the craziness, because you know bad things are going to happen, but it's really hard to telegraph a lot of this stuff.
There was
And-
one part where the hated frat kid, he gets the police officer's gun, is that right? And he
Yeah.
starts
Yeah.
shooting it into the house. And right there I thought, well, the girl's going to get hit, and then Dale is just going to go ballistic. And then and then he's just going to I thought that was going to happen, but it didn't.
No, and
No, she survives the movie.
I
Well-
really enjoyed the fact that she did survive, though. I mean, not every single person has to die, I mean, there usually is a final girl, right?
Right.
But I do like the fact that, unlike any other final girls, she was not a final girl because she was the last one to be slaughtered, or maybe a virgin, right?
Right.
She was the final girl because she actually talked. Oh, I'm actually going for a bachelor's in psychology. Oh, great.
Well, and it's
Yeah.
it's neat how they set that up where she's in school for psychology, because there does come a point where Dale and I think the guy's name was Chad.
Chad. It is
Chad.
Chad. It's
And,
Chad.
and so
Yeah,
he's
Chad.
he's
That's
the
the best
primary
fat name.
antagonist. He's driving all of this aggressiveness against Tucker and Dale. But there's
Yeah,
finally a
because
moment.
the other teens, or the other, I say teens, but the other college, they want to like talk it out and maybe investigate
They do.
this
Yeah.
too. But no, Chad.
He's immediately going
Keeps
to
pushing.
Yep, we've
I'm-
got to arm ourselves. We got to kill these guys.
I lost my mother
Right.
and my father to the
Hillbillies,
hillbillies.
yeah.
Have
Yeah.
you ever heard the story of the hillbillies?
But there is a moment where they sit down and they're having a conversation, and she's trying to be all a psychologist and all
Oh,
Right?
this.
Yeah, she
yes.
puts them at a chair.
Yeah.
Chad and Dale at the ends
You
of the
know.
table, and they are talking it
And
out.
you assume that, okay, maybe the movie's going to end right here with, okay, everything's fine. But
No.
no, there's other kids that are coming in the other way with a gun and all this craziness. And so all they end up doing is hurting themselves. They never
course.
actually hurt Dale or
No,
Tucker.
they're unharmed the
know,
whole movie.
but
Yeah.
and so it's just this series of just crazy events that occur that are just hilarious.
Yeah, I like
and
it.
bloody.
The movie plays homage to like maybe like old horror movies I watched when I was a kid, because I remember these horror movies like maybe with Vincent Price. There'd always be some woman tied to a log, and there's this
Oh,
big
yes.
saw turning, and there's this huge drama. You gotta save the woman who's gonna get cut in half. And so what happens is this Chad, I guess he wants to get Dale, so he kidnaps, takes the girl, ties her to a log, and there's a big saw blade there.
Right.
He turns it on. Yeah, of course, him and Dale have a huge fight.
Yeah, well, they
The
got the
chainsaw
chainsaw
fight.
going on.
Yeah,
with
the
big
chainsaw fight.
pipe and all that stuff.
Yeah, but when we were watching it, my oldest son remarked that it seemed like they were fighting with lightsabers because Chad had who had the chainsaw? Was it Dale?
So Dale had the chainsaw.
Yeah, Dale had the chainsaw, and the other guy had this steel pipe.
Yes.
Whenever they would touch, it'd be sparks flying. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's over, Dale. I have the pipe. You underestimate my chainsaw.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and it's just for those of you that are really, really into slasher movies. Of course, there is a reason Chad has gone so over the top with his hatred of
Right.
hillbillies,
Oh,
and
my favorite part.
it's revealed as the movie plays out that he actually was involved with the original Memorial. What was it? Was it Memorial Massacre or something?
It was the Memorial Massacre. The mom did survive, but it turns out that poor Chad is half hillbilly.
Half hillbilly, yeah.
I love the
Hillbilly.
shock on his face. He's like, I'm half hillbilly. And I think that's like my favorite part of the whole film.
Yeah.
No, and it's just so it's got that slasher movie reveal craziness at the
Yeah.
end there, and again, if you lived through the 80s and saw all those slasher movies, you're right at home here with this film.
Yeah, and it pays homage again to comic books because there's this part where like the vacation house is blown up, which
Right.
is kind of sad, you know.
It was sad.
But like all the college people are blown up too, except for Chad.
Yeah.
Chad's in there, and then he crawls his way out of the burning Hulk. But then he looks like Two-Face.
Right.
Does look like Two-Face. So
Yeah,
good.
you know, from Spider-Man, right? He looks like Two-Face from Spider-Man, and then
Batman.
Yeah, it's Batman.
oh, sorry, I'm getting my comics books
Yeah.
from Batman.
Can we trust Harvey Dent, or
Right. Harvey.
just want to know? Can we trust him?
But you know, you can't trust this guy.
No,
'Cause
probably
it's
not.
Chad.
He's half hillbilly.
Well, and that I
yeah.
think,
I mean, we can't trust a
dark half
hillbilly.
is the
yeah.
hillbilly.
And I think that's why they went with that makeup effect there, where he's got half
Oh,
his
for
face
sure.
burned. Is you're the half hillbilly person, just like
Yeah.
Harvey Dent. So it,
Yeah.
you know, because this is 2010, so Dark Knight had been, what was Dark Knight, 2005 maybe?
I want to say so.
Somewhere around there. So it was still pretty fresh when they were filming that. So that might have been intentional to do a.
And
Yeah,
if it
because-
was, that is hilarious. That was a great
Yeah, I think my
reference.
15-year-old commented on that. I think.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
he picked it up. And so both your boys just had a great time.
Oh, they just love this thing.
My wife hates horror movies to the passion she can't watch it. But
Oh.
Tucker and Dale's the only movie that she can watch through and
Nice.
laugh about it. So it has to mean that this is what we call good, superb movie.
Right.
Oh, 10 out of 10.
and I would agree with that. I think this is a movie that, and I don't even know what it's rated. It might be rated.
It's rated R. It has to be rated R.
because there is a pretty
There's a lot of gore.
extreme level of
I mean,
gore.
literally, this
but
guy's-
it's comic gore. I would have to say it's not.
Yeah, them going
No,
into
it's-
the
it's not
whichever.
Bugs Bunny.
repellent. You know, yeah. And I think it is a movie that is safe for a general type audience to watch.
It doesn't
You know,
like there's no like uncomfortable like scenes where there's inappropriate behavior. You know, like adult behavior. I mean, the girl who falls off the log or the rock and hits her head, and the Dale has to get in the water. Like she is just wearing her top and her bottom, but you know, I mean, really, I mean, you see that on the beach everywhere.
Yeah,
No,
the-
nothing else. Nothing shows. Nothing.
unlike a lot of movies we watch, the
Yes.
camera's not leering at
No.
exposed flesh or
Like
anything
Winnie the
that.
Pooh and Honey. It's just like a bunch of size 6 women just getting massacred. It's just stupid.
That movie doesn't exist in my book.
Well,
What is that?
Yeah, don't.
That's
see
a children's cartoon, I believe.
well, and I don't want to do a callback to one of our other episodes, but Gene hates that movie. I recommended that film, so tread at your own risk
No.
there with Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. But back to Tucker and Dale. Again, I think it is, for all the movies we've done, I think this is probably, if you're not a horror film fan, but at least know enough about them to where a lot of the scenes you would understand what they're
Right.
doing.
Right.
It's just a charming little film. I like the relationship that Dale and Tucker have. I like the relationship that develops between Dale and the blonde girl.
Yep, the
And
college
it's
co-ed.
just a
Yep,
really
yep.
nice, sweet film that happens to have some fairly bloody sequences in it. But it's all it's a really family-friendly film, I would say.
Yeah, I really like towards the end because they visit Tucker in the hospital, and Dale's there. And Dale seems to have come to this personal like renaissance, because he's like in nicer clothes. He's very well groomed. It's like knowing this college co-ed has really brought Dale to the kind of person that he should be, that he always has been striving for, but has been denied for whatever reason.
But keeping in mind, the nice shirt for Dale is a bowling shirt.
It is a bowling
Yeah.
shirt. But Dale is such a good friend, bringing Tucker's favorite beer.
Right, yeah.
I mean, you don't get much better than that.
No.
That's when you know you have a quality friend.
Yeah, Tucker's in the hospital because he does get messed up quite a bit, but he's in the hospital and makes it. But yeah, Dale brings him that beer, that Pabst Blue
Yeah,
Ribbon.
yeah, PBR. PBR is like the ultimate beer.
Right.
The
Tucker
beer.
is very excited to get that beer. So, Gene, anything else about Tucker and Dale?
Yeah,
versus
you
Evil?
know, it's a definite. I don't know, it's a go for anybody. It's really funny. Yeah, I was really surprised, as I said earlier, but it was cool. Even showed it to my kids, 13 and 15, and they both loved it.
Nice.
It's great. It's great for them.
Tyken, anything more about Tucker and Dale?
You know, when you were talking about you stopped your treadmill to
Yeah.
get your kids, I thought it was going to be either A, you hated the movie, or B, you just couldn't be on the treadmill anymore. So I'm really glad. I think we're all in agreement that this is a great comedy horror, 10 out of 10. Anyone can watch it and have a great time. Don't judge people by their hats or beer of choice.
Yep.
And don't go into wood chippers.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
Be
Safety
careful.
first. Safety first, guys.
Yeah, I certainly agree. This is a total win all the way around, and well worth your time.
Yeah. And if you get bee stings, probably pouring beer on the bee stings.
No, you're right.
Probably not the best.
Well, or maybe
treatment.
It sound medical.
maybe drop the chainsaw too. You know, you don't
Yeah,
need
drop the
to
chainsaw.
be running with your chainsaw.
Yeah, don't
What
run
was he?
with
What
the
are you going to do
chainsaw.
with the chainsaw? Was he trying to ward off the
I know,
hornets?
it was just awesome.
Yeah,
but,
don't run with the chainsaw.
But anyway, Gene, what should we do next
Oh
week?
my gosh, I know. I'm not really.
Should we go down the road of A Quiet Place? Because we did have that as a request.
Oh, we had a
That's a good
recommendation.
one.
We can do Quiet Place. I've been watching a lot of The Office, and so the guy from The Office
Yeah.
is in Quiet Place. And actually, a little trivia: Emily Blunt and that guy, which of course I don't remember his name, are married in real life.
Oh, well, there you go. So I guess we're
Oh.
going to do A Quiet Place.
Yeah,
then.
Quiet Place. Yeah.
All right, Tyken, thanks for joining us. Gene, I'll catch you next week, and bye-bye.
Later.
Fairly well.